Hello everyone, this is The Big Fight and I'm Maria Shakil. It's a record our parliamentary democracy will not be proud of. 146 opposition MPs were suspended from the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha after protests in both houses over the December 13 parliament security breach. The mass suspension of the opposition MPs nearly emptied the opposition benches. The government, though, continued with its legislative business and ensured passage of key bills with overarching implications. Bills to overhaul criminal justice system, telecommunication bill, and also bill to regulate the appointment of the election commission. The House had complete and total dominance of the treasury benches. What added to the acrimony was the mimicry controversy after a video of TMC MP Kalyan Banerjee mimicking Rajya Sabha chairman and Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar went viral. The last full session of the 17th Lok Sabha has come to an end, and it has also set the tone for the 2024 polls. The gloves are off and narrative has been set. For the BJP, its projection of opposition as unreasonable and anti-growth and also anti-national. For India Bloc, whose first joint event was a protest opposing the suspensions, it's the government writing obituaries for parliamentary democracy. Let me bring in my guests now. Dr. Mahua Maji, JMM Rajya Sabha MP, also someone who was suspended. Dr. Amiben Yagnik, Congress MP, again an MP who was suspended. Hasnain Masoodi is MP of National Conference. He was again an MP who was suspended. Bansuri Swaraj is spokesperson of the BJP. Sajjan Kumar, political analyst. We have Kalyani Shankar, senior journalist, someone who has tracked parliament for decades. Sunil Baburao Mende is Lok Sabha MP of the BJP. Amitabh Tiwari, political strategist. I'm going to begin with you, Mahua Maji. The question is the conduct of MPs on both the sides. While we are raising questions to the treasury benches, what about the opposition? आपके अपने conduct पे सवाल है.
देखिए, सबसे पहले मैं ये बता दूं कि 13th को जब सुरक्षा में चूक हुई, उसके बाद राज्यसभा में 2 बार शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से वॉकआउट किया गया था. मैं खुद उसमें थी. 2 बार बहुत ही शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से वॉकआउट हुआ और मांग यही की गई कि माननीय गृह मंत्री जी आकर उस पर कुछ बोले. उसके बाद लगातार मांग होती रही 18th को, जबकि 13th की घटना थी. 18th को 5 दिन होने के बाद भी जब नहीं आए और बाहर मीडिया में बोला गया, लेकिन सदन में आके जवाब नहीं मिला, तब लोग गए वेल पे और विरोध करने लगे. अगर यही बात अगर सत्ता पक्ष चाहती कि विपक्ष रहे और शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से, जैसा कि 4 तारीख से सदन चल रहा था, जिसमें 0 आवर, क्वेश्चन आवर, स्पेशल मेंशन और प्राइवेट मेंबर्स बिल और तमाम बिल पर डिबेट, सब कुछ बहुत शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से हो रहा था. लेकिन पता नहीं क्यों सत्ता पक्ष हर सेशन में किसी न किसी मुद्दे पर जिसकी मांग ऑपोजिशन करती है,
was cooperating with the treasury benches in ensuring the house functions. And it is essentially the government which is running away from questions, Masuri.
That is not true. In fact, there was a meeting which was held.
तो उसे आराम से कर सकती थी.
Okay, go ahead. Opening punch, please. I am coming back to you. The discussion is yet to begin. Yes.
There was a meeting which was held across parties, and there was a guarantee given by the opposition members that they are not going to flout any of the norms or any of the rules. Bringing placards and sort of creating a ruckus in the House is against the rules. In fact, you will be shocked to know that 3 honourable members of the Parliament, Shri K. Jayakumar, Shri Vijay Vasant and Shri Abdul Khaliq, they actually went on top of the Speaker's podium and then raised slogans. This is, don't give me one rule that permits this. The whole point is that the opposition is asking questions which is their right. But in what manner are you asking? Do you even want answers? My submission is that the opposition does not even want answers. They only want that there should be a ruckus so that the House cannot function, because they're not able to actually sort of digest the defeat that they have witnessed in the 3 Vidhan Sabha elections.
Dr. Amiben Yagnik, what exactly were you doing in Parliament that you were suspended? And you are among those 146 MPs who were suspended. My question is the conduct of opposition. Is it irresponsible opposition? That's the charge coming from the BJP.
The BJP may put whatever charge they want. The conduct of the opposition parties was that we believe in democracy, we should be heard, we come for the voices of the people from the regions we come, and it is our bounden duty to follow the parliamentary procedures and follow the rules and ask a question why there was a security breach in such a safe place, and if security breach is there, why should the Union Home Minister not come and make a statement? Why was he shying away from making just a statement? The investigation would have happened. We are not asking about inquiries and investigations, but he should have, in fact, suo moto, on his own, rushed to both the houses and said, well, there has been such an incident, and this is what I would like to say. Does it not form a part of a democratic setup? Is it not required of a democracy or a structure in the parliament that everyone is responsible to perform one's duty? We as an opposition, we for the people of this country, believing in democratic processes and procedures, ask the simple question. Please come and make a statement.
Simple question पर objection क्या है? सुनील मेंदे लोकसभा सांसद हैं. सवाल ये आपसे है सुनील जी कि अगर ऑपोजिशन सवाल पूछ रही है, वो उनका हक है, तो सरकार जवाब क्यों नहीं दे रही?
बिल्कुल सही है, अपोजिशन को सवाल करने का बिल्कुल हक है, मगर उसके भी जो तौर तरीके होते हैं, जो हमारे संसद की जो गरिमा है उसको बनाए रखकर वो सवाल पूछे. हमेशा आपने देखा होगा, पिछले 4 साल का भी, आपने 4.5 साल का भी रिकॉर्ड देखा होगा, तो हमेशा अपोजिशन को बोलने का मौका हर समय मिला है. मगर जब इस बात को अपन बात करते हैं, न इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं कि कोई हमारे प्रणाली में, सुरक्षा प्रणाली में चूक हुई थी और किसी ने इसको डिनाई भी नहीं किया. और इस बात के लिए जो भी स्टेटमेंट देना था, जो संसदीय मंत्री है वो खुद संसद में इसका स्टेटमेंट दे चुके थे. उच्च स्तरीय चौकसी गठित हो चुकी थी और जो भी कुछ अब सबके सामने था, इसमें कुछ छुपाने लायक कुछ था ही नहीं. तो खाली विरोधियों को खाली माहौल बना के किसी में उस पे हमारे कामकाज में खलील करके आपने जैसे बताया गया, तो डायस पे चढ़ के, वो फ्लैग करके, वो डायस पे चढ़ के बात कर रहे हैं, चिट्ठियां फाड़ रहे हैं, फेंक रहे हैं, तो ये कोई डेमोक्रेसी का तरीका तो नहीं हुआ ना. और जब उसके पहले हर दिन हमारी मीटिंग होती है, ऑल पार्टी मीटिंग होती है, उसमें कुछ डिसाइड होता है कि किस तरह संसद चले. वो सब करके अलग बात से आप बात करेंगे.
सुनील जी, मैं आपके पास फिर से वापस आऊंगी क्योंकि ये ओपनिंग पंच है. अब अमिताभ तिवारी, सज्जन कुमार और कल्याणी मैम से मैं ये सवाल पूछूंगी. सबसे पहले कल्याणी जी आपसे, यू हैव सीन द पार्लियामेंट फंक्शन फॉर डेकेड्स. बिफोर एवरी Lok Sabha elections, there is a complete breakdown of communication between the opposition and the treasury benches. I would say it's the same thing that is playing out. But what is unfortunate is 146 MPs suspended. Never seen before in the history of parliamentary democracy of India.
It's en masse suspension, which could have been avoided. And the opposition also could have been more dignified in showing the protest. Running to the bell of the house and then going near the speaker. These things need not be done by the opposition. There is a way of doing it, and they can always wear a black badge and come to the house. Everybody will know that they are opposed to whatever is happening, or politely say whatever you want to say. Parliament is for diplomacy and also trying to convey their views. But that has not been done. The MPs are not doing the duty because they are the lawmakers. The suspended MPs and other opposition, they were outside when that criminal law bill, and then also the other important bills were passed by the House without any discussion and debate. Parliament is meant for debate and discussion. And also the former Chief Justice N.V. Ramana, he has said that Parliament, the laws are coming to the Supreme Court because they have not been discussed threadbare in Parliament, which is the duty. They are not doing their duty. So these things should be kept in mind.
We have come to the end of this opening punch. Sajjan Kumar, the stage is set for 2024, and would you say that we got a glimpse of what will be playing out? More bitterness, more acrimony in 2024 Lok Sabha polls, signs of which came in this session?
Certainly, it has started since Manipur episode when you see a new mode of assertion, and also the inflated egos are being played out from both the sides. So 2024 is the optics both sides will deny. One of the thing here is that a perpetual kind of blurring of the line between a parliamentary politics and politics of protest, which has been the precedent of Indian democracy. Now that is collapsing. I mean, security breach of parliament is not a lighter issue. If you had to raise the issue, there were more dignified way, as Kalyani ma'am said, to raise the issue. Coming with a placard in such an en masse number means it was premeditated. You calculated the move, and certainly BJP got so it was certainly unfortunate, but I will not say it was unprecedented. There has been precedent, and the game is set for 2024, and optics is how the audiences and the echo chambers are responding to it.
So it's about the audience. So Hasnain Masoodi, whatever you did in parliament was for your own constituents back home.
What was done in the parliament? See, the first question is that we, in a very respectful manner, we asked that Honorable Home Minister should come to the House and make a statement. I mean, what is bad about it? And what is, unusual about it? See, such a serious breach and a hacker in security of the parliament. So what else could we do except to make a request? That was the second stage. When, see, if you just see the way the treasury benches have, the government has responded, you see a pattern right from Manipur, Pegasus, and earlier issues. Then we asked for a response at the appropriate level, and it was denied. And then we went to, Parliament it was a simple, it was kind of a brickmanship, push it to the wall. So when on post office bill, discussion was going on. Shashi Tharoor had concluded his remarks. It was after lunch. Please, it was after lunch that he did. He made his point as regards post office bill. And once it came to the surface, once it was known that in what circumstances the breach had taken place, then we asked, in a very respectful manner, we asked that Honorable Home Minister should come to the House.
Was it really respectful? What played out towards the later part of the session is the big question. And I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Masoodi. Opening comments from Amitabh Tiwari.
See, parliamentary procedure has unfortunately become the casualty of politics. We are 3 months before the Lok Sabha elections, and both parties are trying to speak to their voters or supporters. BJP is trying to send a message that it is a strong government and it will not tolerate any nuisance. Whereas Congress party was perhaps trying to play the victim card or the sympathy card and gain sympathy that, see, we are asking some pertinent questions regarding security breach, but still we have been suspended and such a mass suspension has happened. However, see, the opposition is asking the right questions, but perhaps aware of the brute majority which the BJP has in Lok Sabha as well as a working majority in Rajya Sabha, it needs to attune its strategy, being confident of the fact that they have been facing suspensions in the past sessions as well. So I think they need to change the strategy and raise voice inside the parliament and both outside, because the focus has now shifted to against the suspension.
Yes, the focus has shifted to what will play out in the next 3 months, because the next will be vote on account. It's the end technically of the 17th Lok Sabha. Amiben Yagnik, the questions were right, but the method was wrong.
No, the questions were right, and because you do not get the answers, you have to do what you have to do. We are here to see that the democratic procedures are followed. Let's not forget that we are living in a democratic world, and we are, as an India, as a country, we have been proud of our democracy. See, on one hand, you want to go to the world at international level and say that we are mother of democracy, but in the house where your own home is and where you need to follow the procedures, you do not want to hear anyone from the opposition. Yes, you might be having a brute majority, but that does not mean that with that brute majority, you have your way. And from May, the Manipur violence has been going on. I think we have not even seen those coffins, you know. Yesterday they were shown 87 dead bodies and so many photographs coming out, and the violence against women. On one side we want reservation for women, we talk about safety for women, but we never talked about the Manipur violence. No, 1 minute, you please bear me out.
The sincerity
so we cannot ask questions because the government is a brute majority and can have its way.
Okay, ठीक है, चलिए ये बताइए, जवाब दीजिए सुनील बाबूराव जी.
मैडम, जहां तक सिंसियरिटी की बात है या हम लोग रिस्पॉन्सिबल नहीं है, ऐसा हमने कभी नहीं कहा. 2 बातें आपको ध्यान में रखना होगा. जो भी संसद के अंदर हुआ है वो सबने बोला है, सबने कंडेम किया है. एक सीरियस घटना थी, सबने सीरियसली लिया था, संसदीय मंत्रालय ने उसके ऊपर बयान दिया था, हमारे सब लोग इवन सभी ने कहा है कि यह बहुत दुखद घटना है और उतना ही सीरियस इश्यू है, जबकि वो संसद के अंदर हुआ है। हर कोई जानता था कि उसका सर्वगत चाहत सबकी उसकी इंक्वायरी हो और उससे प्रॉपरली पता चले कि क्या क्या हुआ है, क्या क्या लूपहॉल्स है, क्या क्या हमारी गलती हुई है, वो सब उजागर करेंगे। कोई छुपाने लायक कुछ बात नहीं थी उसमें, और इसलिए इस सब हरकत के लिए हम लोग जिम्मेदार है। हम ऐसा कभी नहीं कहा कि हमारा इससे कोई वास्ता नहीं है या किसी ने उसको डिनाई भी नहीं किया, लेकिन अपोजिशन जिस तरह से उसका इशू बना रहा है, उसको एक पॉलिटिकल इशू बनाना चाहता था, वो ठीक नहीं था। और उसका
लेकिन अगर इस तरह के इश्यूज को पॉलिटिकल इश्यूज बनाया जाएगा, दैट्स माय लार्जर क्वेश्चन, that do these issues really resonate with the masses? For the masses, how does it matter if 146 MPs are suspended? Correct me, Amitabh Tiwari and Sajjan Kumar. This is a question to both of you. Sajjan first.
See, I mean, one of the things is that when you take your clue from the, strategists who do not have resonance on the ground, certainly there are many issues which you think from a top-down analysis are important and they do not resonate with the people on the ground in a mundane way. So that is why what is happening today, that when both opposition and the ruling dispensation are thinking what issues are important, it's also what is their feedback mechanism. And to think that 2024, and that's why I said, breach of parliament is not a lighter issue. This is an issue wherein a all party meeting, a unanimity should have been there, a kind of a collective condemnation, collective anxiety should have been there. But what is happening, that when opposition decides to make it a spectre of politics of optics, that is really unfortunate, and the way BJP responds is also something that could have been avoided. And that is why I think these are not the issue which resonates with the people on the ground. People are concerned about the security, but not the way the security should not be made of, politics of optics.
Yes, but again my question then would be that when we are looking at placards of this nature, Amitabh Tiwari, Save Democracy, Loktantra Bachao, is that the issue for the people, or will they be interested more in knowing whether our parliament is safe, whether the confidence that is displayed by this government on national security, does it actually fit the common perception?
Yeah, so see, it is one of the rarest public failures of this government. So the opposition should have used it to their advantage. So the question should be whether BJP, which claims or has a badge of honor that it protects the borders, etc., the opposition should have used this to puncture this claim of the BJP. But then there has been a suspension, then there are mimicry, and now there is a saved democracy, which is the issue is now the suspension of the MPs and not the breach of security, which was the original issue. That is number one. Number two, in the state elections, we have also seen that caste censors, this crony capitalism, etc., are not issues. Economy is a pain point. These are the issues, but these are not pretty well raised by the opposition, and there is a huge amount of diversion from one issue to another. It's
confused signal which is coming in, Mahua Maji. Sawal sahi tha, security breach was a big issue, but now it has become about suspensions.
आप एक बात देखिए, जिनकी गलती से, जिन्होंने ध्यान नहीं दिया, इसकी वजह से सदन में हमला हुआ, लोग आए, वो आराम से पार्लियामेंट में बैठ रहे हैं, और जिन्होंने उस पर सवाल पूछा, जिन्होंने ये कहा कि इस पर बात होनी चाहिए, वो तमाम 146 सांसद सदन से बाहर है। क्या ये डेमोक्रेसी है? आपने कहा कि पोलाइटली, किसी ने कहा कि पोलाइटली बोलना चाहिए था, तो जब सीधी उंगली से घी नहीं निकलती है तो उंगली टेढ़ी करनी पड़ती है, बहुत पुराना मुहावरा है। जब वॉकआउट किया गया, दो बार वॉकआउट किया गया, फिर भी उनकी बातें नहीं मानी गई और बिल्कुल ऐसे बर्ताव किया गया जैसे विपक्ष चाहे कुछ भी कहे, हम तो अपने चाल चलेंगे। तब जाके विपक्ष ने जो भी किया, वेल पे गए और प्लेकार्ड दिखाए। कोई मजबूरी में ये सब नहीं करता, लेकिन जब जनता को जवाबदेही देनी पड़ती है, जनता जब पूछती है।
Yeah, Kalyani Shankar, what is evident is that this mass suspension or the government going on a suspension spree is a carefully thought out political move.
Yes, definitely. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone to this extent of, suspending so many MPs, which has not been heard of. I mean, they could suspend for the day, I can understand. For the entire session is something, even if they want to do suspension, just suspend them for a day. That would have been a lesser punishment. This is the most severe punishment the presiding officers
Yes,
have
that's
thought
what
of.
happened in 1989 when
No,
63
in
MPs
1989, the opposition MPs resigned en masse on their own, not because of the government.
Yeah, so that was also for a day. So my question is that if a government has the kind of majority that this government has, where is that idea of magnanimity?
There is
And is the BJP government, Basuri, also forgetting what your mom, Sushma Swaraj, and late Mr. Arun Jaitley used to say? They were quoted repeatedly in saying that disruption is a form of parliamentary responsibility, that not allowing parliament to function is a form of democracy like any other form. And that's what Sushma Swaraj had said in September of 2012.
Maya, show me one incident in parliamentary history where Srimati Sushma Swaraj or Mr. Arun Jaitley climbed onto the dais of the speaker. They always dissented in a democratic manner within the realm of the law. The question today, in fact, I must also say, this phrase brute force has been multiply used by members of the panel. Let me correct, it is not brute majority, brute force. It is actually electoral majority that has been bestowed on the Bharatiya Janata Party by the people of India.
Majority,
yeah, so
which is making you display brute force.
It is not. It is not. I'll tell you what is happening. You are talking about a premeditation. There was a premeditation, but that premeditation is on behalf of the opposition. They are not able to digest the landslide electoral victory of the Bharatiya Janata Party in the recent Vidhan Sabha Chunav. So what do? They actually come and they disrupt parliamentary proceedings. Like I said again, you have the right to ask the questions. How are you asking the questions? The circulars banning placards in parliament are actually from the time of the UPA government. It is not something new. And with respect, all the honorable members of parliament who are here on the panel and also the ones who have been suspended, they are all people who are extremely well versed with the parliamentary procedure. It was a deliberate attempt to ask a question in such a way that we don't let parliament
But
function.
suspension is a very, very serious thing.
They wanted to be suspended because their entire modus operandi was to play victim.
Okay.
How else will you actually
So you are
achieve
playing
that?
victim now.
No, there is no question of playing victim. The question here is the way the present ruling dispensation has no magnanimity. The word you used, I think, is too far-fetched for them. They think that they have a majority, so they can get away with everything. And we don't want to reply to you. You saw the farm law bills, 700 farmers lost their lives. And the bulldozing of the farm laws went on in the Parliament House, and nobody was allowed to speak. We did not speak on that. And finally, you had to withdraw those bills. And you got on the podium and you shouted, we have a right to go and voice our questions. We might have gone to the well, but I don't think that you have climbed the podium, all of them. And
Okay.
So all of them, but why do you give such harsh punishment when you know
Yes.
that you were bringing 3 important bills? Those 3 bills, the criminal bills, are going to affect each and every one of the
That exactly
140
is my
crore of
next
people.
question to
Not
Hasnain.
one section. 140 crores of people will be affected by these 3 bills.
Those bills are so crucial and critical for India and Indians, wouldn't you have wanted to be debating that? Hasnain Masoodi.
See, all the time, the disruptions have been triggered by the government, by the treasury banks. If you see, there's a pattern discernible all along during this 17th Lok Sabha. Never discussion and deliberations have been facilitated. Now, fundamental question is, tools of a parliamentarian, universally accepted tools of a parliamentarian are adjourn motion, calling attention motion. Do you find a single instance when such motion has been allowed? That is the way how you can just facilitate a discussion or debate in the House. That has not been done. Now, the strategy of the treasury benches is to trigger disruptions, to take a stand that is against whatever is being demanded by the opposition. So, what did we demand? See, Home Minister and Prime Minister had time to comment on this breach everywhere except the Parliament. See,
But Mr. Masoodi, would you not agree that right now the issue is not the breach with which the opposition initially started, its entire protest. Right now, it has become about suspensions. And now
So
the
it is-
placard is democracy
No, it
has
is-
to be saved. Something that
No,
we have
it is-
heard in the past also. So the
It is
opposition,
in-
do you think, is making the same mistake?
Arya, it is everything is interlinked. You know, breach and allow debate and discussion in the House, not allowing that debate and discussion, then forcing the opposition to go to take the next step. Now, see on 13th, after it was in 0 hour that the incident took place. After 0 hour, we did participate. Earlier I said that there was post office bill. So Shashi Tharoor did make his point on the for half an hour. He did speak on the bill. Then we said by that time it has surfaced that how this had happened. We
Yes,
said
there
that
are big concerns, but because
But
this has
no, there
set
was
the
no-
tone,
there was-
tenor, and also perhaps the direction going
it was
ahead.
it was only
My
the
only
state.
thing is, sir, that even in the past, just before every Lok Sabha polls, we have seen complete breakdown of communication between the treasury benches and opposition. So nothing unusual. But what is unusual is this mass suspension.
Yes.
Parliament is about MPs, and if MPs are not there in Parliament, then what is the purpose of Parliament? That is my question, Sunil Mende. Of course, you would have wanted an issue to play out, and mimicry issue became the talking point. And the main issue, which is about about the Parliament breach, the government has still not responded. उस पर जवाब ही नहीं दिया है सरकार ने.
बिल्कुल दिया है मैडम. हमेशा चेयरमैन साहब ने हमेशा इनको बोला है कि हम लोग किसी को सस्पेक्ट नहीं करना चाहते, आप बार बार ऐसी हरकत न करें. कितनी बार उन लोगों के सामने उन्हें चेतावनी दी है. और आप जिस मिमिक्री की बात कर रहे हैं, आप जिसके जो अपन ने देखा, आप सबने देखा है, इससे क्लियर है कि अपोजिशन कभी सीरियस रही नहीं. उनको सबको मालूम था कि आने वाले बिल इंपॉर्टेंट है, उसके बावजूद ये हरकत कर रहे थे. और जिसकी ये बात कर रहे हैं कि वो हाउस में हमारे मिनिस्टर आना चाहिए, तो मिनिस्टर क्या चीज है? मिनिस्टर तो ऑलरेडी हमारे जो संसदीय मंत्री है उन्होंने बयान दे दिया था. इंक्वायरी चल रही थी, कोई ऐसा तो नहीं था कि 2 दिन में सब चीज आगे आ जाता.
Yes.
उन्होंने इंतजार करना था.
Did this entire act that played out outside Parliament on the footsteps, Sajjan, derailed the main issue with which opposition started, and the protest became non-serious?
Not only derailed, it also brought to spot the lack of sincerity about an issue which opposition was trying to reach, claiming it is for the national interest and public interest, that is the security. And you see a precedent about the lack of sincerity. Manipur violence, opposition demanded a statement. Home Minister has already given a statement, which is the fact right now it is the demand. Now, once the Home Minister has given the statement, then the goalpost was shifted that now Prime Minister has to give the statement. The point is that why there has to be an inflated ego? Then Home Minister has given the statement, you wanted Prime Minister to speak. When Prime Minister started speaking, you walked out. So that, therein the opposition lacked the optics. And again, this time also, opposition for the second time on a big issue wherein they could have scored. If 2024 was the intent, you cannot be so serious about such an issue and suddenly you would be into a mocking mode to the position of the Vice President. So certainly,
yes, please. Go
so
ahead.
opposition in sequence, starting from Manipur to parliamentary security breach, lacked the optics by showing a lack of sincerity.
So what played out in the winter session was about optics on both the sides, but in this war of optics on both the sides, because the suspensions were huge, on the other hand you see mimicry, could the opposition have played that role of being united and coming across as serious? Because the issue was serious. Ami Ben Yagnik, did you lose in the battle of optics?
No. Let's not take it to optics. Let's understand one thing, that the people who are watching this show or the people of this country also know that those who jumped from the visitors gallery into the house when the session was on, they were young boys and they spoke about unemployment. So that unemployment issue is shunted on the side. We are not talking of women safety or women violence. We are not talking of unemployment, but we are talking about something that happened on the stairs of the Parliament House.
No, I agree with you,
so,
ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, that is exactly my point.
So
if you are talking about these individuals who committed that, then their issues are not being raised. It's about individuals now, which are the MPs. They have become the talking point, that India bloc MPs, 146 suspended. it's about democracy at risk.
So those 146 MPs are telling the people of this country that we are taking up your issues, but the focus is on something else that has happened in the premises of the Parliament House. We want to talk about democracy, we want to talk about unemployment, we want to talk about women's safety. You bring a reservation bill for women which has a caveat and a condition, but you do not want to address the issues of the people of this country.
Okay,
you
so you are
talk
running
about
away
mother of
from
democracy,
issues.
but you don't want to believe in democracy.
What is this mother of democracy which is a dysfunctional
I'll just
one?
quickly just
That's
add to
she's
what Sajanji was also saying. You were talking about why is there no magnanimity from the government. You know, when the Honorable Prime Minister of India was actually responding in his speech on the floor of the House in a no confidence motion brought by the opposition did not even have the courtesy to sit and listen to the reply. They created a ruckus, they disrupted the entire parliament session, and when the Honorable Prime Minister was replying, they walked out. So you're talking about lack of magnanimity from the side of the treasury benches. Where is the basic courtesy from the opposition?
Okay.
Now let me just answer on the mimicry issue.
Yes.
Very quickly. What happened was not mimicry, it was mockery. It was mockery of the democratic process of the country. Please try and understand, the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, who happens to be the vice president of India and the speaker of the Lok Sabha, are above party politics. And this is something that the seasoned parliamentarians are very, very aware of. But today the opposition actually comes up and does not oppose on policies, on decisions, even on political ideology. Everything is actually personal insult.
Okay, Mahua Maji, ये personal charge है, ये personal discomfort है, ये personal political हो गया है.
यही कहना चाहूंगी कि जो मैं बता रही हूँ, ये मिमिक्री मामले को लेकर आप लोग जो तूल दे रहे हैं, एक्चुअली मैं भी इसको सपोर्ट नहीं करती. जो भी हुआ गलत हुआ, निंदनीय है, लेकिन एक बात और है कि इस परंपरा की शुरुआत भाजपा ने की है. भाजपा के वरिष्ठ नेताओं की मिमिक्री वायरल हो रही है इन दिनों, जो कि कांग्रेस और दूसरे पार्टी के लोगों के लिए की गई थी. तो ये परंपरा जिसकी शुरुआत भाजपा ने की थी, आज यहाँ तक आई है. इस परंपरा को बंद होना चाहिए और ना ही सत्ता पक्ष ना ही विपक्ष को इन मुद्दों पर इस तरह से पूरे देश को दिखाना चाहिए कि हम इस हद तक जा सकते हैं.
चलिए,
तो इसकी
तो ये मानती हैं आप
कि
मिमिक्री ने आप लोगों के जो जेन्युइन कंसर्न्स थे, जो इंपॉर्टेंट इशू था, वो हाईजैक कर दिया. मिस्टर मसूदी, could the opposition have come across?
ये भटकाने की कोशिश है.
Okay.
मुद्दे से भटकाने की कोशिश है. ये भाजपा की कोशिश है.
Could the opposition have ensured that all of you across party lines condemn the words and actions of Kalyan Banerjee?
Well, I mean, see, everybody in his own way said that nothing should be said intended to hurt anyone. But the fact remains that this whole ecosystem has been started by who did it start? I mean, see, the former vice president, he was insulted when he had to lay robes, when he had to quit on the last date in the House itself. See, who has frequently used this mode to just taunt the opposition or the leaders of the opposition. This whole thing has been started by the treasury benches, by leaders of the party in office, the ruling party. See, they have started. It is for them to say goodbye to it and just say that nothing more now anymore. But as regards the recent episode, everybody has said in his own way that no, this should not have been done.
Okay.
And,
okay, so let me start and wrapping up this discussion now. And I'm going to begin with you, Amitabh Tiwari. The stage is set for 2024. There'll be no engagement whatsoever between the government and the India bloc. But in this battle of optics, one may say that it is the parliamentary democracy which is a casualty.
Yeah, it is the parliamentary democracy which is the casualty. It is the taxpayers' money. You are showing a placard which shows that 25% of the time of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha was wasted on these issues in this session. So, as a taxpayer, we hope that at least in the budget session, both the parties make up and we have some good debate on issues, and both the opposition and the ruling party open some channels of communication and work towards the betterment of the country.
Okay, Sunil Babu Rao, क्या सरकार कोशिश करेगी कि ऑपोजिशन ऑन बोर्ड आए? वोट ऑन अकाउंट है, लास्ट सेशन होगा, ये फुल सेशन खत्म हो गया, एक माहौल ऐसा दिखे कि चलिए चुनाव में तो जा रहे हैं, बहुत सारे लोग वापस भी नहीं आएंगे, सब लोग जीत करके तो आएंगे नहीं।
बिल्कुल सही है मैडम, हमेशा हमने डिबेट चाहा है, हमने चाहा है कि अपोजिशन हो, अच्छी अपोजिशन हो जिसमें सभी की भलाई है, और कभी हमने ऐसा नहीं चाहा। इवन दो जब आखिरी दिन आपने देखा होगा, आखिरी दिन में भी कुछ लोग फिर से प्ले कार्ड और फिर से चिट्ठियां फाड़ रहे थे, तब भी चेयरमैन ने कहा आपको क्या चाहिए, आप फिर से अपने आप को एक्सपेल कर दे। तो इसका मतलब इनका इंटेंशन ही गलत था। अदरवाइज हमेशा पार्टी ने, भाजपा ने हमेशा ये चाहा है कि इस देश में अच्छी अपोजिशन हो, स्ट्रांग अपोजिशन हो और अच्छी डिबेट भी हो, जिससे कि हमेशा हमारी लोकशाही अच्छी बनी रहे, इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं।
लोकशाही के लिए ये भी है कि थोड़ा बड़ा दिल दिखाए सरकार,
हमेशा बड़ा दिल दिखाया है, कोई हमने एक दिन में सभी को एक्सपेल नहीं किया है। उनका स्टेप ही ऐसा था, वो लोग सीरियस नहीं थे, हम लोग सीरियस थे हमेशा। आपने देखा होगा जब कभी वो लोग जो भी मिमिक्री की बात कर रहे हैं, आप कभी भी उनका समर्थन नहीं कर सकते, ये कोई सीरियसनेस का इशू नहीं है। आप जिस तरह से बात कर रहे हैं कि वो मिमिक्री करेंगे आप उपराष्ट्रपति जी की, तो ये सब बातें आपको सोचना पड़ेगा। और हमेशा भाजपा या हमारी पार्टी हमेशा ये चाहती है कि अच्छे पोजीशन हो, स्ट्रांग अपोजिशन हो और हमारे साथ में आए, डिबेट करें संसद में, हम लोग बिल्कुल चाहेंगे।
Okay. Is there also this case now, Dr. Amiben Yagnik, that what you intend to communicate, which was about a strong government not being able to protect the parliament, did not get communicated the way you would have wanted? So are the issues that are being picked up by the opposition not being effectively communicated?
Oh, absolutely. On the ground, if you see, everyone is watching. When we talk about what is happening to the people of this country, when you are giving more than 50% of the people of this country free rations and not talking about unemployment, you are not talking about the right education system in its place, you see the students all going away abroad. We are taking all these issues on the ground, and we are also taking the issue that we are very proud that we could pass the women reservation bill, but with a caveat which would be coming later on. So what are you going to talk about women empowerment when you come with conditions? So all these issues are there, weakening of institutions. We had the Central Election Commission bill. You see what has happened to that bill. So it is going, the people are watching.
Would you not have wanted to be in Parliament, in the Lok Sabha, in the Rajya Sabha? The opposition would have wanted to be involved in the discussion, raise concerns and objections to the bill.
That is exactly what the opposition is doing. But because the ruling dispensation has a majority, you do not want to listen. And so you can say, well, a harsh step of suspending everyone has taken place. Even in the last session, suspensions have taken place. But en masse, in such a huge number, it has happened for the first time. 100 in the Lok Sabha and 46 in the Rajya Sabha. You could have taken a softer stance and said,
are
okay.
you not worried that the message is also going that the opposition is so lost in outrage that it is incapable of having a good discussion on important issues, on important legislations?
No, everything, you know, will happen because when you see these three bills, when they will come on the ground, that will be an eye-opener. Everyone is knowing the bills the way they are bulldozed. You had to withdraw the 3 farm law bills. Other bills are practically, you have seen that when you have seen intellectuals, and I do not want to name who others are speaking on what is happening to the CEC bill and what would be the casualties later on. So we are practically weakening our democratic institutions, democracy, and we are practically the federalism structure.
Okay.
I think
so
everyone
that exactly
is
my
watching.
question to Kalyani ma'am. You know, the point will be, and as is being seen recently, that who is really weakening democratic institutions if the opposition is getting lost in issues which do not really resonate with people. Janta ke issue nahi hai ye.
Well, exactly. That is what they should talk about. You know, the whole thing Rahul Gandhi has said about it was a job, no job for these people who entered the house. So job is very, very important. They should raise concern about the job and then growth and then GDP. And these are the things which are of common, price rise. These are very important to the people. You know, they should raise the issues pertaining to the common man. And so that, you know, they are sent to parliament only for that. To run a parliament house for parliament for 1 minute, it costs 2.5 lakh, 5 lakhs.
Yeah.
So the 2.5 lakhs is from the taxpayers' money. So taxpayers would expect that to be spent properly. If you are going to waste every time, go there and then, you know, this kind of suspension and this kind of walkouts and things like that, actual thing of talking it out or debating or discussion, they are being pushed to the sidelines.
Okay.
So that should be the next
Dr.
session.
Maji?
No, one second. The
Yes.
next session, at least, all the MPs should decide to come.
I'm coming to you.
Yeah,
Yes.
should decide to come, and then
हाँ,
that's the
मैं
last
ये
session
कहना
of the
चाहती हूँ
whole
कि
term.
अभी थोड़ी देर पहले कहा गया कि विपक्ष जिन मुद्दों को उठाती है वो जनता के इश्यूज नहीं है, तो 140 करोड़ जनता पूछ रही है विपक्ष से कि यदि एक सबसे सुरक्षित भवन जो हमारे देश का है, पार्लियामेंट भवन, इसकी सुरक्षा नहीं कर सकती है सत्ता पक्ष, तो 140 करोड़ जनता की सुरक्षा कैसे करेगी? क्या ये जनता का इशू नहीं है? क्या विपक्ष जनता का इशू नहीं उठा रही है? अगर राहुल गांधी जी ने बेरोजगारी की बात उठाई कि जिस कारण से युवाओं ने संसद में कूदकर अपना करियर खराब किया, अगर वो आतंकवादी होते तो अपने साथ कोई खतरनाक गैस लेकर आते, वो खिलौने लेकर नहीं आते। अगर वो अपनी बात सत्ता तक पहुंचाने के लिए इस हद तक डेस्परेट हो सकते हैं, तो क्या ये जनता की बात नहीं है? आप सिर्फ कुछ बड़े इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट की मदद करके उनके पैसे बाहर विदेशों में चले जा रहे हैं, उनको नहीं वापस लाकर आप एक तरफा कर रहे हैं। देश की ज़्यादातर पूंजी आप इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट के पास दे रहे हैं, और अगर कोई इस पर बात करना चाहता है तो आप कह रहे हैं कि विपक्ष जनता का इशू नहीं उठा रहा है। तो जनता का इशू क्या है, आप ही बता दीजिए। दरअसल सत्ता पक्ष ये इस गुमान में है कि उनके पास मेजोरिटी है, उनको विपक्ष की कोई जरूरत नहीं है, वो तमाम बिल्स जो चाहती है वो बिल पास कर लेगी, और arrogance of numbers की उनके डिस्कशन की डिबेट की कोई जरूरत नहीं है। जी,
what I keep repeatedly hearing is that the opposition is going to continue flouting rules, but magnanimity will be expected from the treasury benches. See, for any democracy to function well, there is a very important role and responsibility fastened on the opposition. The BJP wants a very robust opposition. You want to talk about magnanimity, you know that for Ram Lala's Pran Pratishtha on 22nd of January, both Sonia Gandhi ji and Kharge Saab both have been invited by the Honorable Prime Minister. BJP wants a robust opposition, but unfortunately the India Alliance is not getting its act together. They are not able to come together on a particular issue. So what do? They go ahead and create a ruckus instead. They do not want to debate any issues. They just want to flout rules. They all knew that placards are illegal. They all knew that jumping on the dais of the speaker is illegal. 3 members of parliament have been referred to the privilege committee. Imagine, their suspension has been referred to the privilege committee. So, none of the honorable members of parliament on this panel have answered my question.
So this fog of issues have been created. So it's essentially, there is confused signals, just as we have seen before 2019 polls, again before 2024. If you send confused signals, Dr. Ami Ben Yagnik, then the results are known.
No, there are no confused signals. When we are talking about the issues of the people and you want to not hear them, and you resort to the harshest punishment of suspending. So obviously just because you have suspended doesn't mean that the MPs will not go and this will gel with the people. It's not going to gel. People are watching. The youngsters are watching. The other day, there was a letter from youngsters who said that we have lost our chance in the UPSC because of the pandemic. We need some extension. They have been trying their best to approach the government, but no reply is being given to them.
Absolutely. That's my concern, ma'am.
So that is why the issues are there on the ground.
All the issues that you're saying on the show are valid ones. But again, this is not the issue that is being communicated. It doesn't appear to be communicated, let me say, inside the parliament or on the right platforms. So I'm saying, while all the concerns that are being raised by opposition may be genuine and valid, but is the messaging getting lost, Sajjan?
Yeah, I mean, the messaging is not getting lost. One of the crises of today's opposition, particularly India Alliance, is that they do not have a binding issue which can be a policy outreach mode with the people, and that is why also you see a kind of oscillating pendulum. Before the assembly elections, it was the OBC consensus and proportionate reservation. Then suddenly it's coming the Dalit optics, Dalit president, Dalit prime minister. So that sort of issue, people want a consistency in terms of the issue, which becomes a very resonating issue with the people, and that is because BJP has the issue. Ram Temple is going to be a big issue, and besides that, lots many other issues are there, and they are consistent with that. So that sort of a policy identification with the opposition is something that opposition is facing a grave crisis of, and they are in desperate need of an issue, and that is why one of the fatal mistake they are committing is completely shifting from A to B to C to D without showing that they have a conviction behind the outrage. Exactly.
or sincerity behind this outrage.
Exactly.
So that sincerity is missing, Mr. Masoodi.
Rahul, right now, the way, the suspensions have been made, see, it brings in focus the anti-democratic, anti-constitutional, the way of working of the government. So that is the concern. That is concern of, because in which way the country is proceeding. See, that is the biggest concern, because fundamentals, the constitutional morality is gone, constitutional property is gone. It is compromised. Only because government did not want that there should be a discussion on how 3 criminal laws offend Article 21, offend the Constitution. See, they triggered this disruption. It was because otherwise, what was?
So then, if you were smart enough to know that it has been triggered by the government because they do not want you to be part of those discussions, then you should have restrained yourself.
No. If we did restrict. See, on the first day, if you see on 13th, we participated in the proceedings. It was only on the next day when they decided to go for the suspensions. First 13, then for 49. This was a game plan, so that the point of the lethal effect on mandate of Article 21 is not brought to the surface, and there is no discussion. And then again,
so you understand the game plan, but then you have fallen into the trap again of this game plan. Quickly, now I'm going to give the final words to the women on the panel, as it has been my tradition on my shows. Beginning with you, Mahua Maji. Go ahead.
Ji. What is the question?
Yes, my question is that are you giving, you're not sure about the issue that you wish to raise, and that there is no unifying glue or unifying issue glue between all the India bloc parties and members.
No, actually there are many issues.
Please go
बट
ahead.
बीजेपी हमेशा हमें गुमराह करने की कोशिश कर रही है. जब बेरोजगारी पे बात होती है, जब देश की सुरक्षा पर बात होती है, तो बीजेपी हमेशा ध्यान भटकाने की कोशिश करती है. और अभी हमारे पूर्व वक्ता ने कहा कि बहुत बड़ा इशू है उनके पास राम मंदिर के उद्घाटन का. तो धर्म के नाम पर तो हमेशा बीजेपी प्रयास करती है कि हर चुनाव के पहले पोलराइजेशन हो जाए.
चलिए.
और सबको, पूरे देश को उधर से भटका के एक तरफ करे.
तो ये
आप
लोग फिर लेकिन फिर भटक क्यों रहे हैं?
का आपने जो प्रॉमिस किया था, आपने कहा था कि 15 लाख रुपए कैश आएंगे. आप
if the BJP as part of a larger strategy is trying to divert issues,
इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट को हमेशा बचाने की
then why
कोशिश
is
करेंगे.
Amiben Yagnik moving away from that issue that you are so convinced about?
आप उस पर बात
Coming
नहीं
back to you,
करेंगे.
ma'am.
आप
Yes.
देश की संपत्ति कुछ प्राइवेट के
Yes.
हाथों में देंगे और वो इशू आपके पास नहीं है. आप धर्म
Yes.
के नाम पर लोगों को भटकाएंगे.
Yes.
और जब ऑपोजिशन आपसे सवाल करेगी तो आप करेंगे कि उनके पास कोई इशू नहीं है.
ठीक है.
ये गलत है. ऑपोजिशन का इशू ही है बेरोजगारी, नौकरी और सुरक्षा. ये तमाम
I certainly wanted opposition MPs to give each other time to speak. Please go ahead.
एक बहुत बड़ा इशू था.
Yes, ma'am, I'm coming to you. Yes, Amiben Yagnik. Yes.
अभी भी मणिपुर जल रहा है. अभी भी मणिपुर जल रहा है.
Yes. Yes, go ahead.
No, there are plenty of issues, and the opposition is going to the people with those issues. The people are affected. You may not say that why the ruling dispensation is stronger or getting away with whatever. We know how they operate, and then they become little panicky, and these issues they never solve. The main issue of inequality, which is growing in our country, and the economic situation that is today in the country, I think the ruling dispensation cannot boast that we are giving free rations to 80 crore of people. Now, if that is what you call mother of democracy, and where that democratic institutions like what, you don't want to address any of these issues, you want to keep everyone shut on that, you also keep yourself shut on that, and you do not want to take up the issues of this, they are going to flare up. You cannot ignore the ground reality. You cannot talk about 140 crores of people without addressing the issues.
So, if there are these uncomfortable issues, is this also a ploy that you want the opposition perhaps to be lost in a set of issues that you can easily respond to, like mimicry?
We don't need to have a ploy. The opposition is lost as it is. आपके मंच पर ही opposition के सांसदों में समन्वय नहीं बन पा रहा है. समय को लेकर समन्वय नहीं बन पा रहा है, मुद्दों को लेकर समन्वय नहीं बन पा रहा है. 2024 के चुनाव में इनका प्रधानमंत्री का कैंडिडेट कौन होगा, उस पर समन्वय नहीं बन पा रहा है. देखिए, the fact of the matter is that the opposition is not able to digest the fact that there was a landslide victory in the favor of the Bharatiya Janata Party in the Vidhan Sabha elections. Madhya Pradesh is the only state where even anti-incumbency was not in the minds of the electorate. And that is something which has really shaken them. So what do? They actually use diversionary tactics and create ruckus in the parliament to shift all the attention from alleged issues to themselves. And that is why they actually go ahead with things like from mimicry, which was actually mockery. Mockery of the Honorable Vice President of India, mockery of a Kisan Putra, mockery of a Jat Putra, mockery of constitutional post holders.
These are the only issues they can bring. The issue was the security breach. There has nothing to do with what happened in the state elections. The suspensions followed because the answer was sought from the Honorable
But ma'am, today
Union
all
Home
the
Minister.
images that are emerging from all the protest sites is of democracy in danger. Where is that issue of national security that you wish to raise? Why is that not visible?
No, the national security was a question that was asked, that why there is a security breach in the house itself. The answer has not come forth, and that shows that where are the national security issues. We have been asking about China
who is
incursions,
confused
we have
here?
been asking on the borders issue.
Final words
No answer is coming.
to a journalist who has covered parliament for decades. Yes.
Yeah, what was the question you said?
Who is confused here?
I think India coalition is a little confused because they should come up with one view, one slogan, one narrative, one catchy slogan, so that
one unifying view which is missing, that glue is not
but then
there.
BJP has got its own core issues since long, and Modi ji has sort of completed two of them already. The third one is likely to come probably,
Yes,
the
we'll
Uniform
see.
Civil Code by the time we
All
finish
right.
it.
Thank
so
you so
they
much,
have
ma'am.
their own
Dr.
issue.
Mahua Maji, Dr. Amiben Yagnik, Hasnain Masoodi Bansuri here in the studio, Sajjan Kumar, Kalyani Shankar, Sunil Mede and Amitabh Tiwari. Thank you so much for joining us. That's all from me on this episode of The Big Fight. I'll be seeing you next week. Thanks so much for watching.